What's up everyone? Today we're going to be looking at different ways to optimize yourself in AFK Companions. We're basically going to be looking at ways to min-max and basically make decisions that are going to push you furthest in the game progression, ways to avoid common mistakes that people do, and just progress your overall character development in the game to the best of your ability. So the first thing we're going to look at, and this might seem pretty obvious, but it is your companion in AFK Companions. So the companion is the person that you are matched with. You can see here and down here, it's my boy Primordial. I actually have no idea who this guy is, but we were matched together when I started the game, and he's been progressing pretty far. He's right down here with me, right up here, and I played this game quite a bit, so it's nice having a companion that is, right there with me. But with your companion, one of the big things is you want someone who's actually going to be playing the game, because some people will play the game for a few weeks and then they'll just stop and they won't progress. And so it can really deter your progression when your teammate is no longer playing and you have old units that just really aren't useful anymore, that you can borrow and use. So for example, let's look at campaign. Go to teammates. As I'm sure most of you know, this is where you can borrow your teammates' units. I use quite a bit of them actually, especially on the 2 wave stages. And so having someone who I can borrow is Ascended Chimera. Some of these units I don't have as high. He's got a few units I don't even have yet. And being able to use those for the campaign is really useful. If you really want to go all out, have a friend, and you guys can basically plan which units you're going to build out and which units they're going to build out, and then borrow each other's so you can push campaign as far as you can. The only downside to doing that is you can't use your teammates' units for other things like Forked Fate and the King's Tower, and basically other different things within the game. And so, for campaign, that's the best way to optimize that, push forward. Obviously, the farther in campaign you go, the more rewards you're going to get. The next thing I wanted to look at is Forked Fate. So this is really important because this affects how much purple essence you get in your AFK rewards. So if you don't push very far in the Forked Fate, you won't get as many purple essence, which obviously, for those of you who've been playing AFK Arena for a while, companion or the normal game, Purple Fate is a very important resource. It's something that you will basically use until you are done playing the game. But especially early on, being able to ascend your units requires purple essence. And so without that, you really will have a hard time progressing. And so if you don't push the Forked Fate, you just won't get as much AFK rewards, which is a big way to getting that resource up. The next way you can optimize in AFK Companion is by making sure you're pushing as far as you can in Arena. So when we look at the awards, this is the awards from your guild. The person who has the highest rank in the guild splits this fortune chest amongst everyone in your guild, which is a great incentive. But also you get the rewards for your rank. So currently I'm the 34th, and this is my rewards. If I can get farther, they kind of go up, as you can see here, and so on. And so you want to make sure that you are really pushing as far as you can when you are challenging. It's easy to just quick battle every time, but as you can see, I'm ranked 34. I can probably beat some of these people if I, optimize well enough. So maybe this is probably just a bait to try to get me to attack them because they don't have a pet. But I might be able to take this person on if I can, put my units in the right spot and maybe kill the Chimera. So you want to make sure that you are pushing as far as you can, using the units that are best in Arena and the best comps, and make sure you are also updating your defense settings so you do not end up with, a comp that's just not viable or old or has older units. Make sure you're pushing as far as you can so you can get those rewards, the diamonds, and then the tokens for the Arena store, because there's a lot of great things in the store. This is the best store in the game, so make sure you are pushing your Arena as far as you can go. Another way to really optimize your experience in Companions is making sure you are on a guild, specifically a guild that is, solid. They have a lot of members, are, progressing in the guild hunting, making sure that you're getting like the rewards that are available. Oh wow, I'm getting some now. Ideally progressing through here. It's hard to find guilds that are going to be super great, but one way to make sure that you're in a guild that's, going to get you a decent amount of rewards is a guild that's full or almost full. You don't want to get in a guild with like 2 people or 3 people and then, you just don't have enough manpower to really progress in things, with events like this one that's going on with Vault of Time, or even, the guild treasure hunt, or your normal guild hunting. Like you want a guild that's going to be proactive, has, a clan leader who is kind of sifting people out who just aren't playing anymore, because sometimes people just stop playing and they'll be sitting there for months on end. You want someone who's actively removing people, getting more people in. Everyone's guild experience is going to be different. Some people want a really close-knit guild where people are talking a lot, or people they know in real life, while others just want one that's going to get by. But make sure that you're doing one that at least gets you the minimum requirements, or even like a little bit higher with some of these other things. Having a guild that's progressing far enough too, having a guild that reaches certain levels and milestones. My guild's currently at 7. Once you reach 8, we can get better equipment. I wouldn't recommend fully buying equipment from here yet until you really need it, but it's, upgraded stores are always a plus, always a bonus. So that's one way you can really make sure you're min-maxing in AFK Companions. Another way is to make sure you're doing the Dream Realms. These give you rewards every time you complete them. You can see the rewards here for your kills. These are decent rewards. I mean, there's a lot of summons, there's a lot of units. You can also get ranked rewards, which is nice. Based on your guild, like I said before, guilds really kind of impacting in a lot of different areas in AFK Companions. See, my ranking is the 18th. This is a pretty good reward, top 10, a little bit better. So make sure you're doing these, even though it might seem useless. One way to do that is to look at different formations that work well against different bosses. Make sure that you are doing what is best against it with your units. And I think the last thing I'm going to talk about is min-maxing your units. This might seem obvious. This is something that, in any game, really, you want to make sure you're building the best units, using units that are helpful. I wouldn't go off what I have on screen right here, because I am not really min-maxing in this account. I'm not going for the absolute best units and everything. I'm just kind of going for what seems fun, what seems cool. I would not have ever built Isabella out if I was doing that. Probably wouldn't have built out, Tassi's not terrible, or Thane, but I would probably build out other characters before them if I were min-maxing, and really focus on the best optimization possible. But you want to make sure that you're using tier lists. You can look at tier list videos that I've made for different factions, or other tier lists online, just to see which units are best in slots and best in faction to build out. Just going quickly, Mishka is probably the best unit in the game right now, outside of, a Soul, or, a Taline, or Taline built out fully might be better than Mishka in some circumstances, but Mishka is the easiest unit to get a lot of copies of to build out. Mishka's gonna do a lot in the beginning game. Damon's another one that's just a beast of a unit. Definitely focus on getting her. It's also one of those units that can just really be, putting down damage, increased attack. So you want to make sure that you're focused on units that are really helpful for your progression. If you have a bunch of junk units built out, not that all these are junk right here, but if you have mostly junk units built out, then it's just really going to hamper your progression in the game. And then my last piece of advice is make sure you're doing peaks of time. Make sure you're doing all of these when they become available. And then also your Forest Mania and your Shadow Invasions. I don't mind doing Forest Mania. It's kind of like a nice change of pace. I hate Shadow Invasions, but there's good rewards in that. One thing to note with Forest Mania specifically is if you look at the rewards, you get a lot of a faction-specific scrolls. And if you are wanting to get Ascended Solace, I would save all of these for the Wilders faction. You know, you get summon here too, I believe. Maybe it's just normal summons. Oh, you get some right there. So make sure you're saving those for the Wilder faction. For a soul, you can get Ascended Solace once you have 5 fully ascended Wilder units. And so once they have the silver background, you will be able to unlock her. And so once you have 5 Wilders like this, you will be able to unlock her at campaign 2260 completion. This is a pretty big milestone. You know, it's going to take a while to get. And so if you really want to focus on, you know, unlocking her, using all of your faction specific scrolls is going to be basically required, unless it's going to take a really long time. And so when you complete Forest Mania things, I would save all of these for her or for the Wilder faction, because it's going to speed up your ability to get her a lot faster. And so that's one way you can min-max that as well. But thanks for watching, y'all. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions about anything, leave them in the comments. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. Peace.